Welcome to What's Cooking. I'm Rebecca Fliszar, the dietitian with the Hearts Beat Back Heart of New Ulm project. Tonight we're going to do some great recipes and they're based on our summer special salads. This is a great time of the year to get out to those potlucks, get out to a barbecue at the lake, and just have fun. While it's summertime, it doesn't mean we have to compromise our good health. The recipes we'll see tonight are not only going to be good for your health, but they're going to taste great. So let's go ahead, take a look at our first recipe. We're going to be making a nice shrimp and imitation crab salad. This is going to compromise a lot of our vegetables. We're going to get it all in there together, and you're going to find out you're going to have great flavor without having to add a lot of fat. You know, when we think of barbecues, we often think of a potato salad or coleslaw that are going to be very mayo-based, very high in calories, and we're just going to feel full and uncomfortable by the end of the day. This is a great way to get in our fruits and vegetable servings without overdoing it. Remember, for the Mediterranean diet, as promoted through the Hearts Beat Back Heart of New Ulm project, we're looking for 7 to 9 fruits and vegetable servings per day. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you break it down into the amount of portions needed for each serving, it's definitely a doable amount. We're looking for half of a cup of fruits. We're looking for 3 cups of our leafy greens, half a cup of cooked vegetables, a whole cup of our berries. You can do this. You know, we eat so much throughout the day that we don't really even think about. Now let's take it to more mindful eating and make sure you're incorporating the fruits and vegetables. All right, so let's get started. The first thing we want to do is we're going to take a large cucumber and we're just going to slice this up. I'm going to make it pretty thin. Get that all chopped up. The nice thing about cooking with vegetables or making your recipes based on vegetables is we really don't have to follow a real close portion size. So if you get a few extra vegetables, nobody's going to take offense to that, right? So the more vegetables you can get, the better off we're going to be. Finish this up. With this recipe too, you're going to find there's lots of ways to make modifications. I really don't enjoy a lot of real spicy foods. So this recipe calls for jalapeno, something that I'm going to leave out. All right, now I just want to dice these up a little bit, make them into some smaller pieces. With this, nothing is too set in stone. The size of your cuts really doesn't matter, depends on how much time you want to put into it. Just get them nice and chopped up, add a little texture into your dish. All right. Any of our green vegetables are going to be very high in nutrients. Cucumbers are especially fresh right now. They are available year-round. Oftentimes we think because we're Minnesotans, we don't get the nutrients we need throughout the winter. We might pay a little bit more, but it's a great investment in your health and in your future. So if the price goes up by a dime per pound, remember how much those medications will cost when we don't take care of ourselves. All right, so that looks like a good portion size. I'm going to toss those into our bowl. The next thing we're going to add then are radishes. Again, this is one of our early season vegetables. You can find these at your local farmer's market right now. Radishes have a distinctive flavor. They definitely have some antioxidants and going to add a nice crunch to your salad. These are cut to taste. If you're not a real big fan of radishes, if this is an overpowering flavor to you, you can cut back on these a little bit, maybe add a little bit of the extra cucumber to fill it up. Or if you like radishes, go ahead and add some extra in. You're also going to notice with this dish, we're going to have some wonderful color. Color is one of the main avenues that inspire people to eat fruits and vegetables. By looking appealing, we're more likely to give it a try. So sometimes when we have things like plain broccoli, kids aren't quite as drawn to that, or even some adults. But when we add some color, liven it up, you're going to see that you're going to get great flavor and a lot more consumption by your family. All right, get those in there as well. A couple more. I do love radishes, especially this time of the year. All through our communities, there's lots of farmers markets. This is a great way to support your local economy, keep your farmers in business, and also get the most nutrients. Produce that's grown locally and brought right to your market has the highest amount of nutrient density of any of our produce. Every day that a fruit or vegetable sits on a truck or is transported, it does lose some of its nutrients. So by shopping local, you're going to be sure that you're going to have the highest nutritional content of any of your foods. All right, next thing I want to add into this is we're going to chop up a few stalks of celery here. Make sure you're always washing your produce before using. I'm going to rip these out. Again, celery, high in nutrients, high in antioxidants. That cut off. Dice these up a little bit and they'll be ready to go. Celery is one of our lower cost vegetables. We find it, all of these were going to cost about 50 cents if you do a per weight price. The great texture of celery is going to add that nice crunch and add to the crispiness of your summer salad. All right, we'll get that added in. Now we're going to go ahead and I want to chop up a little bit of a red onion, again adding some more color to this dish, more nutrients, and a whole lot more flavor. A couple tricks when cutting onions. If you put a little bit of vinegar down on your cutting board before using it, you're going to neutralize the acid and you're not going to have the watering of your eyes so much. It's one of the great deterrents of using onions. They're no fun to cut. But today I chose a red onion. It has a very different flavor than a yellow. There's also the Vidalia onion, which is going to be a little bit sweeter. Again, a very good heart-healthy food. Incorporate that into your diet whenever you can. All right, here goes. You can see I don't have any vinegar, so sure my eyes will be watering soon. This smells like a very strong onion. Now, because I'm a big onion fan, I'm going to add a bunch. If you don't like it that much, go ahead and hold back. All dishes need to be made to your taste and the taste of your family. If you don't like it, you're not going to eat it. And we find that with all of our heart-healthy foods. Even if we have good intentions of having salads and fruits and vegetables every day, if they're not prepared in a way that we enjoy, there's just no way we're going to stick with it. Oh yeah, it's a strong one. All right, I'll leave that pretty roughly chopped so I don't cry. There we go. Now we're going to add our protein sources. To make this a complete dish, we want to make sure we're having something with protein. Seafood is a great option for that. We're going to add that in. I've drained and rinsed these small shrimp. And the next thing I'm going to add in is some imitation crab meat. Now, if you want to spend the money, you can go ahead and get the regular crab meat, but not me. I'm watching my budget. I'm going to make this salad, and it's going to cost me less than $6 for the entire dish. Eating healthy does not have to be expensive. Watching your purchase amounts, because our vegetables and fruits will spoil, we want to make sure we're not buying too much at one time. Oftentimes when we buy in bulk, we think we're saving money, but if we're throwing a lot of it away, it's just not going to be of any benefit. So watch your purchasing amount, have a good plan for the week, and make sure you're using as many fruits and vegetables as possible. All right, so that's the base of our recipe. But with everything, we need to have a little bit of a dressing. That's usually where the calories come from. Well, this recipe is going to be nice and simple. We're going to go ahead and cut a lemon in half, and we're just going to squeeze that lemon over the top. This is going to add some really nice flavor. It's going to neutralize a little bit of that onion and the radish. It's not going to have such a bite to it. And yet, we're not adding any calories. All right, we'll finish that up a little bit. I did squeeze out that entire lemon, and if you like it a little zingy, go ahead and add another. Remember, things like lemons and limes, they're not really adding any measurable calories. They're not adding any of our saturated fat or cholesterol, yet they're great for flavor. And that's it. We have a beautiful salad with some wonderful flavor. You can go ahead and add a jalapeno to this. You can add some curry powder, a cayenne pepper, whatever you'd like to do to spice it up. This is how I like it. This is how we made it. All right, we'll be back in a minute with our next recipe. All right, so now we're back with another quick, easy, but delicious, high fiber, wonderful recipe. This is what we're all looking for. We want to be the one at the party that brings the high fiber, great looking, great color flavored salad, but we don't want to put in all the time. This is about a 5-minute salad, and it can't be beat. What this is, it's called the Mexican summer salad. We're going to have some black beans, some cannellini beans. These are both very high in fiber, excellent sources of protein, and yet they don't contain any cholesterol or saturated fat. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's the ideal foods for our heart-healthy, Heart of New Ulm diet. Legumes like these beans are going to be the great source of protein to include in your diet as often as possible. We're also going to have some Mexican corn. It's going to have a little bit of peppers and some other seasonings in here to add a little bit of zip to our corn. We're going to chop up 1 tomato. We're going to add some green onions or some scallions, a little bit of garlic powder, and then we're going to use a red wine vinegar as our dressing. If we take a look around at this, we know that there's very little fat in this and yet a tremendous amount of flavor. So let's go ahead, put these together, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, let's go ahead and dice up our tomato here. This is also one of our foods that we can find at our local farmer's market. It's the perfect time of the year for this salad. Our tomatoes are going to come out really great this year. With all this rain, we can expect a bumper crop in our tomato department. With those tomatoes, if you can't use them all now in the summer, that's a perfect food to start canning. Tomatoes are one of the few foods that we find have additional benefits after being canned. We find the lycopene levels of tomatoes actually go up after canning. So canned tomatoes, keep them on your list. Great opportunity to improve your heart health. I'll throw those in there. You know, this is just a regular beefsteak tomato. If you wanted to do it a little differently, you could use a cherry tomato or grape tomato and just throw those in there whole. Add a little bit of a different texture to your salad. Whatever you have in your garden is going to work great. With this, if you wanted to make some modifications, you could add peppers. You could add a jalapeno, a habanero if you really wanted to spice it up, or a regular green, red, or yellow peppers would work as well. All right, so once we have that in there, we're going to add our cannellini beans. This is also called the white kidney bean. Get those in there. Simply dump in our black beans. Now these have been drained and rinsed, so I took out as much of the sodium as possible. And we're going to add the corn. We're going to dice up these scallions or green onions here. Going to cut off the ends. Easy enough to use. Again, to preference. We've learned already that I am an onion fan, so I cut these up as high as possible, get as much usage out of that as I can. Now you can use the other end of the green onion as well as a garnish. It can be consumed. It's a little bit lower in flavor than our bottom. And the last spice here, we're going to add a garlic powder. Add as much as you'd like. We're going to mix that up just a bit. You can see already, easy enough. Has that Mexican flair to it and great color. All right, I'm going to top that off with a little bit of red wine vinegar. About 1/3 cup. Now this is ready to go. That was easy enough. The tip for this one is if you really want the full flavor, go ahead and let this set overnight. This one is going to keep well. We don't have anything that's going to become soggy or not taste good. It's only going to absorb all of the flavors, mix them together, and we're going to have a delicious, delicious salad. This is something that can be served with crackers or alone. You could definitely put this in a wrap. With the beans, you have an excellent source of protein, so it would be the base of that. Put it in a wrap, it makes a perfect salad. This is a great, easy little salad, but it's also a full meal. You could add some fat-free sour cream or a low-fat cheese, and you have a nice Mexican dish. I don't know how we can get it any easier than that one. That's it. That's our Mexican summer salad. And that's it for this week's episode of What's Cooking. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week.